was scrolling to YouTube. Thank you for recording it now. So I was scrolling to YouTube and I came across something about product design, UI UX first off. Yeah. So I started reading more about it, watching videos more about it, and it was more aligned with what I already know in graphic design, but this time it was tailored to digital products and some human feelings and stuff. So I dabbled more into it, did a lot of research, joined an internship program before I got my first job on in design industry. So currently I'm freelancing at Total. Um, it's a top talent industry where they link you with clients to convert their ideas into solutions. So I'm a big fan of Manchester United. It's all over me right from when I was younger. So when I'm not designing or doing anything affiliated with knowledge, yeah, I'm either watching football or playing video games. So that's pretty much a summary about me. And I like smiling because I believe the energy we radiate to others, it has a way of changing, making or breaking their day. So I just prefer keeping my face open. So diving into UI UX, yeah. So UI stands for user interface design, UX stands for user experience design. They are interwoven, they are not the same, but they are interwoven in the sense that you can't do one, you can't properly do one, sorry, without doing the other. So they need each other to stand. From the chart you can see there, you see that for UI you talk about colors, talk about patterns, animation, while for UX we're talking about user research, empathy mapping, get to know more about your target audience, product strategy, information architecture, how we like to arrange this information so that when anybody's reading it, they know, okay, to get to this step, I have to take these following steps. So they are two different things, but they have a meeting point. So in summary, user interface design is design of interface for software. Currently, for the purpose of this course, we just do with software, digital products. I won't go into machines and live products because that is a whole different level. So it's design of the interface. By interface, I mean what you can see and what you can touch of digital products, maximizing usability. It has to be usable and it's aimed at solving problems for users. That's user interface. While user experience, more of emotions, more of data. So how did your user, how did they feel after interacting with your interface? So if peradventure, I'm coming to book a flight and your product claims to book flights, but when I come on there, I'm seeing different things. I cannot book my flight. So it has left a wrong impression in me. I did not feel fulfilled. So the experience of that product is not right. It's not complete. At the same time, if I come there and eventually you did fulfill what I need, but it took me a lot of time to understand what to do. Yes, you fulfilled my needs, but I did not still enjoy using your product. So user experience deals more of aftermath. So after they engage your UI, after they solve their need, how do they feel afterwards? So that's just what that is summary of user interface and user design and user experience design. So we'll dive into user experience first off. Design is not difficult, but the purpose of design and the leading events before arriving at the final design is where the nitty-gritty actually is embedded. Element of design experience. So we have visual design, interface design, information design, navigation design. These are all user interface. User experience, we're now going into user needs, information architecture, site objectives. How do we get this information straight to our users without breaking their normal way of things? I mean, if the ideal way of turning on a TV is going to push a switch or press a button, it will not be nice if you then have to first hit the television 5 times before the TV now comes on. It's not a good experience. That's the information architecture generally. Putting things where they need to be, how they used to be, for users to easily get across to them. Now, user experience, laws of UX. As usual, everything we do um, are governed by laws. So I just picked up 6 fundamental laws of UX that you need to know before diving into the interface itself. So the first one on the list is fit law. So fit law is trying to say that the the time it takes to perform an action is relative to the distance between you, the user, and the action. Now, dragging this down into user experience, let's take, for example, WhatsApp, right? So, WhatsApp, for example, the if you're sending a message, you use WhatsApp send message. Say you're chatting with somebody, sending a message. Now you don't type in at the bottom. You don't type in how are you doing this morning. Yeah. Now you want to click on the send button. That's your purpose of coming there. I want to send a message to a friend. I want to click on the send button. Now imagine you having to take your hand to the top before clicking on that send button. Now there's a break in experience there because I have to since we mostly use one hand when typing. Now I have to adjust my phone, go to the top right, and then click on send, then come down again and start typing have you had breakfast, then go up again, click on send. So Fitlo is trying to say that the time to acquire a target is a function of the distance to and the size of the target. So the time it takes for you to perform an action is a function of the distance from you to the action and the size. Because if it's too small, my thumb might hit something accidentally and I'll not perform the action. So there are 2 things that you should do if you are designing and you want to apply fixed law to your design, right? So the touch target should be large enough for users. We use mostly thumbs. We use our thumb in clicking, and very few people I know use their pinky finger, which is very, very. But the thumb is what you use in clicking the most. So the touch target should be large enough so that I can easily click on it and perform the action I want to perform. Now the second takeaway from fit law is the touch target. By touch target, we mean the buttons. The buttons majorly. They should be large enough for you to perform the action, and they should be placed in areas that can be easily reached. As I made a sample of the WhatsApp, right? So if they are placed if they put the send button at the top right, it will be difficult for you to get there. That's why it's at the bottom. So once you just don't type in, just hit on the next and continue typing or do whatever you want. So your touch targets has to be placed at locations that are easily reached by your user, the user of your interface. And the second law is Hicks law. So Hicks law states that the time it takes to make a decision increases with the number and complexity of choices. So what this law is trying to say in summary is that don't give your users too much choices, too much options to choose from. Yes, I know you are you book flights on your platform. When I come there and I'm seeing 4 buttons, one saying book flights, another one saying book hotel, another button saying book cab, another button saying book train. There are too many. So the time it takes for me to make a decision on what to do, because time is of importance. I don't want you coming here and spending too much of time. Just come, do what you need to do, have a good experience, and come see you next time. So the time it takes to make a decision increases with the number and complexity of choices. So the take home from this Hicks law is that minimize the choices when response time are critical to increase decisions. Take for example, e-commerce, right? So you come on Jumia and you need to purchase an item. Now, the primary function of e-commerce of Jumia is to make you buy products. So if you come there and then you are seeing about four options, maybe add to cart, buy now, buy in 2 days time, save for later. By the time it take for me to read all those four, then decide what I want to do, you might have lost me. Because also we need to target people that are non-tech savvy. I mean, we don't need to also target people that we don't need to assume that everybody know what tech is, what design is, what mobile applications are. So those people that are not conversant with it, when they come there, they now see, oh, I can buy in 2 days time. Should I buy? Should I buy? Should I buy? Let me buy now. That's we're really wasting too much time. And the purpose of the platform is to make you take a decision quickly, is to make you take decision quickly, buy from us so that we can get more money from the company perspective. Now the second take home is breaking complex tasks into smaller steps in order to decrease cognitive load. Cognitive load is a term used to associate memorizing, retention, basically. So if there are too many things on the screen, I'm keeping one to memory, I'm keeping another to memory, I'm keeping another to memory. They are too much. So break all these complex tasks into smaller steps. A useful case scenario for this is in a sign-up form, or let's say checkout process. Now I can easily list out all my checkout steps in one screen. I mean, tell me who you're sending it, tell me who you're sending it to, and start paying, and collect your receipt. I can list everything out in one full screen. But then it's too long. But if you break it into sections, the first section might be delivery section, I mean the information section. This is where you get to know about the person sending, the sender and the receiver. The second section might be delivery method, is it pickup or home delivery, enter your delivery address and all of that. The third section or the third step might now be the payment section. Now you've broken it into 3 steps. It might look longer, but it is now in steps. I'm climbing here. I want to get to the next step. I want to get to the end of this. So it reduces the time it takes to actually make a decision because we know that the next step already is delivery. So that's about Hicks law. As you go on, you don't need to commit these things to memory. So all you need to do is just make a practical example of these laws. I mean, you don't need to cram these laws. As you go on, when you are designing, when you are getting your hands dirty with design, when you are critiquing interfaces, then you can now start finding some usability errors, some UX errors. You can say, okay, this is not properly done. The button ought to be at the top right. Sorry, it ought to be at the bottom, not at the top right. That is because of Fitts law. So it just becomes all natural to you. Now, the third one here is aesthetic usability effects. So what this says is people tend to believe that an interface which is properly designed actually works. I mean, Access Bank is properly designed. Access Bank is properly designed from my perspective, right? Another person might have a different opinion about it. But if you look deep into it, there might be some usability errors. There might be some UX errors that were omitted. But I would not really think too deep about it because it's aesthetically pleasing. But moving on to Zenith Bank, for example, no offense to any Zenith Bank holder or staff. Moving on to Zenith Bank, for example, now, well, I don't know if it's the update I have, but it's not really too nice for me. But then, to an extent, they do the work. They do what they say they want to do. I mean, you can send to yourself, you can send to another person, you can send to domiciliary account and stuff. But interface-wise, aesthetically, it's not really pleasing. So we are quick to push them aside because they don't look pleasant to the eyes. So this law, aesthetic usability effect, simply states that users often perceive aesthetically pleasing designs as designs that are more usable. So if your design is clean but then doesn't do the work, some people might ignore might tolerate some minor errors because the design is neat, the design is clean. I like the use of colors, the spacing was appropriate. I like the position of the buttons. It just resonates with me and stuff like that. That's that's why UI is actually very important. So the fourth one is Jacob's law. So Jacob's law states that users spend more time on other sites, so they want they want your product that claims to be like other product appear the same. So what's saying if I'm on how do I give a sample? If I'm on American Air, for example, I want to travel, yeah. I use them often. Now I know how they do their things, but then they don't service where I want to go to now. But your company claim that you service where I want to go to now. Um, from what do you mean? From what do you know? I'll reach out to you one sec. But then you claim that your platform service where I want to go to, right? First off, mentally, I already know how it works. Now, if I'm coming to your platform and then I'm having to learn again how it works, one thing to take the time that I wish to perform actions, it will reduce the experience of the platform, and then I might eventually not use you because recognizability over learnability. So if the ideal steps to take when checking out from an e-commerce store is this, and this. Users are already accustomed to that flow. Now, don't go and do your own and say you want to be new, I want to be different. Users spend most of their time on other sites. This means that users prefer your site to work the same way other sites work that they already know. So two things to take away from this is that they expect like other products, basically, and then dwell more on recognizability over learnability. So have they seen this before? It's like using icons, right? If I'm in the home screen and then I put a search icon for the home screen, there's a problem there because users know that search means search. The um, microscope means search, but then it is the home screen, so there's a problem there. You don't want to now start teaching them now. Okay, forget what you know about other apps. In this app you are in there, this search means home. That's too much stress. So that's what Jacob law is about. The law of proximity. Law of proximity just states that things close together are grouped as one. Things close together are grouped as one. For example, now you know that these two things are grouped together, they are close to each other. You know that these two are grouped together, but they are close to each other. You know that this one and this one are not really in the same sentence because they are not close to each other. So what's trying to say is that things that are close to each other are actually grouped as one. That's the law of proximity. So if you want to pass across a message to your potential users that level A and level B or button A and button B are actually together, then they should be close enough to mean that they are together. So two things that you can take away from this. Proximity helps to establish a relationship between nearby objects. As I said, if two things are close together, people might say, okay, users tend to believe that, okay, they perform the same action, right? Then they also help to make users organize information properly. As I said, now you know that this one are together, these are together, these are together. So you don't even need to do too much before you know that, okay, this is one block, another block, another block. You've already organized it without you thinking about it too much. So I saw a hand up. Before I continue, I'd like to take that question quickly. I think I saw the hand up. Yeah, Hannah, if you are here though, you can go your question.
Sorry, I raised up my hand by mistake. Sorry.
Okay, all right, that's fine, no worries. So let's proceed. Miller's law. Miller's law states that the average person can only keep 7 items in memory. That's basically almost the same thing as I said in this part, where you should break complex tasks into smaller tasks. So Miller's law states that the average person can only keep 7 items in their working memory. So in all your steps, in everything that you are doing, from start to finish, limit the steps. Because if I'm taking way long to complete a checkout process, along the line I might forget what I did in the first screen, especially if I have information in the fifth screen. I don't know if you understand me. But all I'm trying to say is break your steps into smaller steps so users can understand, so they can also memorize easily. And of course, the target audience matters. I mean, if I'm if I'm working for an older generation, yeah. If I'm working for an older generation, in as much as this Miller's law is backed by data that they performed before coming up with a law, but for older people, this 7 might come down to about 3 or 4, meaning they don't really keep much because of course age has a toll on them, environmental factors also, and, and what have you. So the approach to them will definitely be different from the approach to the Gen Z younglings. Now the sixth one, or before I take, somebody has a question. Yeah, blessing, shoot. Blessing, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, it was a mistake. Hello.
Ah,
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you.
no worries. So the sixth one is serial position effect. So what this is trying to say is that where users actually understand things, they take the first letter or the first block and the last block, and then they can piece it together. I mean, if for example I spell positioning together, I mean I spell positioning, but then I interchange the I and the O. Best believe that you would not, you have to, if I don't tell you, you will not know. You just read it as positioning because the first few letters of the POS, you know, it's position. Okay, it's positioning, and then you keep going. So how do we apply this to whatever we are designing, right? Now, information that are least important, right? Information, of course, all information are important, but they have their own hierarchy of things. So those ones that are least important, you might want to place them in the middle. If I'm scanning through a website, right, I take the first, I mean, a landing page, yeah. I take the first section, I run through bunch of text, I run through, I go to the, okay, I see this, and then I'm done. So you can use this to your own advantage by positioning key factors or key that you want users to take action on. That's why you see that almost all the websites up at the hero section, you will see the button at the hero section started there because once you come there, they will like from that section. Because they take that button and put in the middle, they move from the top and put in the middle. There are high chances that you will skip that middle section and run down to the bottom before leaving. So main functionalities of your product, you keep it at the top or at the bottom. But I advise keeping it at the top more often. Well, it's when you now have a problem of deciding if to what to keep at the top, then you have to now then apply the bottom section. So those are laws of UX. These are 6 laws of UX. I'll drop a resource on for you to actually go and read more about law of UX, basically, so you can get more idea about what this stuff is. But before I move to the next stage, which is UI, the guest lab principle. So this is also a UX law, but guest lab just means positioning things that closer proximity. That's all guest lab means. The first one is good figures, proximity, continuation, similarity, symmetry, and closure. So you don't need all this stuff. Yeah, committing to memory. You don't need them. You don't commit them to your memory yet. But what you can take are just simple things you can pick from it. You don't have to pick everything. Just pick this, pick that. Because at the end of every product, you run a usability test. So it's in that usability test, then you now need all this information to really confirm that, okay, the product I finally made actually does all this relating to the law of UX. So the buttons are better positioned, things that are close together, they're actually one. The text I use are what they mean. The icons I use are what they mean, what people are used to, and stuff like that. But that's at the end of the whole process. You now run usability testing. But along the line, to reduce the time it will take for you to run that testing, you might want to know some of this stuff and implement them as you go. But one that I would like to take out from is this similarity, right? Now, similarities mean that objects that are of the same shape tends to be together. Now, if you look at this sample, you would know that all these triangles are actually together, or you will perceive that all these circles, they mean one thing, triangle means another thing. That's because the shape is different from these guys. Proximity also, you would know that these two maybe they're a group, they do one thing, then this guy is missing a pair or is a loner. So you already know that without anybody telling you, you know that okay, this is a group, right? This is not a group. This performs the same action, right? This one performs a different action. Now, user interface. Now we've talked about user experience. That is just one step of user experience in terms of the laws. There are other parts of user research, user stories, and all of that. We'll get into that when we want to do UX. But I just want to give you guys a foundation of what governs UX so that as we go, we can apply those laws in what we are doing. So now we've gotten an introduction to user experience, which is the experience users feel the moment they leave the platform that wants them to come back, that keeps them coming back. That's user experience. User interface is now talking about the aesthetics. Are they properly positioned? Are they aligned properly? Does your color match what your color should match? I mean, that's the reason why Netflix uses red as their color because in a studio, I mean, in cinema, sorry, in cinema, red is used to invoke emotion. It's used to invoke the anxiety and the spirit to actually see a movie. So Netflix adopted that from real life scenario into their product. So colors have different meanings as you go. You don't just pick a color and okay, I vibe with this, let me go with this. No, it's really not about you, but about your target audience. Typography also. There are some typography that are straight, some are curved, so you need to know when to use this, why we use this. Consistency basically is just saying if you're using 2 centimeters, I'll use centimeter for this case study. The dimension we use or the unit we use for in design is pixels. Pixels. So let me use pixels. If I'm using 2 pixels at the top, I should want to use 2 pixels at the bottom also. Consistency. If I'm using 14 pixels for my body text, and somewhere else I'm doing body text, I should want to use 14 pixels also, so that they're all consistent. Then layout is more of this one to the left, this to the right, this one top, this one bottom. So you want to put those information where they need to be in an entire layout. Then interaction, in as much as interaction is part of user interface design, but it's not it's a broader spectrum because we have motion design, we have interaction design. That's where you get to use Adobe After Effects and stuff like that, Jita, Protopie, all of that. But interaction is saying that if I click on a button, it needs to give me a certain effect for me to know that I clicked on it. Like in the real world, yeah. So once you press the button on your TV remote, right? It presses down, so you have this feedback that okay, I've pressed it. But now on digital surface, your screen, except we want the screen to bend small to tell you that you have pressed me. We as designers, we need to also give that feedback, maybe a bouncy feedback, a change in color to let users know that okay, you have pressed it. Wait for feedback or something of that sort. Hierarchy is more is saying that if you look at this interface, for example, you might think that layout, you might think that layout is more important than colors because layout is clear, color is a little bit dim. So you might think that okay, layout is more important than colors, but this whole stuff is just for presentation purposes. But hierarchy is trying to say that there should be a clear distinction between the title of a page and the body of a page. And I'll show you about it when we get into along the line. Element states. Element states are now we have primary buttons, secondary buttons, tertiary buttons. I'll explain this also as we go on. So if element states are more of am I typing? If I click on an input field now, I want to type something. Say for example, I want to type on this. I can see that this is totally different. There's an outline here. It's a blue outline. Am I still sharing? Can you guys see my
No,
screen?
no, we can't.
We cannot.
There you go. One sec, sorry. Um, one moment, sorry. So can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, cool. Sorry about that. So what I was trying to say is, now if you look at the example, look at this button on these windows at the bottom left. Now if I click on it, it's clear that I'm typing because there's a blue stuff around it now, and there's something blinking inside. So it's clear that okay, I am typing at this point. So that's what I mean by That's what I mean by element states. So you need to let your user know when they are performing an action, basically. So if I click on something, you need to tell me that okay, I've clicked on it. If I want to enter a text, you need to tell me that okay, you're about to type and stuff like that. Spacing also is an element of user interface design. So your spacing has to be accurate, it has to be appropriate for you to get a clean design in real sense. So now you know what to do by design. What to do by I mean alignment has to be top notch, your colors has to be relatable, typography also, consistency, layout, spacing. Now all these are what are user interface in real sense. All these are just how you do user interface, how you actually carry out user interface design. Then what tool should I design with? There are various design tools. At some point, we use Cohort to design. At some point, we use Photoshop to do UI designs. But for the purpose of this class, we'll be dealing with Figma. We will be designing all our interfaces on Figma. Why Figma, you may ask? Figma is a rising platform in the sense that many companies are adopting the use of the platform. Many companies are adopting using Figma. So if you want to position yourself better with um, for companies to hire you, of course, you need to get acquainted with what they do, what they use, and if you know how to use Figma to do the work, there's a higher chances of them saying, okay, we don't need to train you to use Figma again. You're already conversant with the tool. Come on board. There's also Adobe XD. Adobe XD is also a design tool. There's Sketch, there's Zeppelin. So there's Sketch, Zeppelin is for handle. There's Sketch, there's Adobe XD, there's Figma, there's Photoshop. For this, we use Figma. Now, whatever you learn, the tool is just a spoon, right? The purpose is to eat. The tool is just a spoon. If you know how to eat, right? If you know how to eat, you can use your hand, you can use a fork. What I'm trying to say is, if you know the basics of design generally, it's applied everywhere across the tool. All you might need to do is master how to use the tool. Where can I get um, if I want to change typography, where do I go to? If I want to change color, how do I change the color? And all of that. But for this purpose, we're using Figma. So I can see your hand up, Cynthia.
Yes, good evening. I have a question.
Yeah, good
Yeah, you
evening.
mentioned that Figma is the most popular tool currently. So what's the peculiarity of Figma from Adobe XD and every other product design tool? What can you enlighten us on their peculiarity?
Okay. So well, for Figma, their major advantage, in everything we do, in everything businesses do, they want to find a competitive advantage over their competitors, right? So one advantage of Figma over Adobe XD, for example, is the collaborative, the collaborativeness of Figma. So you can collaborate more on Figma compared to say flexibility to collaborate more on Figma than Adobe XD. And it's free also. It's cloud based, so you can access it anywhere. It's cloud based, so you can access it anywhere from any device. It's also free. So these are just the things that drew me to Figma. And then it's a fast rising platform in the sense that companies are adopting it. So they might have their own reason for adopting it, might hit some of their own company metrics. Maybe it's safer for them, it's cheaper for them. So and then if it does the same work as other platforms, but then it's cheaper for them, it increases the collaborative nature of their structure. They can also adopt it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Right, fantastic. Now you know all this thing about user experience and user interface. Now, what are the best practices as we go into the course proper? Yeah. So the first one is keep the interface simple. Of course, you might want to bring too many things. When you go in, you see that your mind is a ticking time bomb. You might want to bring everything into one place because you know that okay, the user, if I put this button here, the user needs it. But I think after I click on it now, he would like to see something. Let me put it in here again. Now you're already making that place chop up. So if I come there and see that it's too busy, it will reduce the time I will take to perform an action, which is a UX law that I've already defaulted in. It will not give me the cognitive load now. I might have to understand this, understand that, understand this. That's another defeated UX law. So keeping it simple means that the most important thing that I came here for, just give it to me. Any other thing you give me should be secondary. But why I came here, just give me why I came here. Now, how do you know why a user came to your platform? So that's where user research comes into play, right? So yeah, you see where I said research. That's the basics of design. Everything has to be data backed. Why am I doing this? What to bring the user here? How do I keep them? All those questions. Okay, is this the best thing to do for them now? Is this how they are feeling? If you know all this information, then you can keep your interface simple without removing key important features of a platform. So that's one best practice. Second one is creating consistency, basically. To just stay consistent across the board. If your home button says home, if I go somewhere else in your app, right, that home button should mean home. I don't want to use the search functionality here, and then when I go probably inside your app, that search means edit. I have to learn that again. There's no consistency in it, right? If your button is square, if I go inside the app and I see a triangular button, there's a problem. What is this? Why is this one triangle? It's not consistent. So keep your consistency. Just create consistency and keep all your elements consistent. The third one is the purposeful your page layout, right? The purposeful your page layout. The canvas might look too big. Now the canvas might look too big, right? It might look too wide, and then what you want to do is just probably a small thing. And then you might be thinking, I have to fill this space. If I put this in here, there's too much space here. It's not the purposeful in your layout. So when you see that what I want to do is maybe just one small box at the middle, right? One small box at the middle. You now start thinking, is there a better way for me to put this box? If I put it here and fill this side, maybe an image, does it make sense? Okay, what if I put it at the middle and then just put one small thing at the top here? Okay, would that make more sense? Basically, so just be purposeful in your layout. Also putting into account that as humans, it's proven that we read things in the F format. By F format, I mean we read left to right, up, down, right? F format. So to aid scalability and to aid readability, having this at the back of your mind in terms of making your layout, it can aid your user experience, the attempts to increase the user experience, because you know that okay, they read left to right, so I might want to continue a sentence from the right instead of from the bottom. I mean, if you're reading the best interface are almost invisible to, and then you now start coming down, you're saying the user they avoid. When you come here again, you now start again. But the ideal thing users will do is when they come here, they come down back here again, they read again, they come here. That's the F format we're talking about. Than just going zigzag. So a fourth thing to do, a fourth best practice is using colors and textures to your advantage. As I said earlier, colors are emotions. So the way I put it is colors are emotions that are trapped. Any color you see is a trapped emotion. If you're feeling bad and you see a blue color, it tends to reduce the anger you have, or however you're feeling, it tends to reduce it, right? If you're angry and then you see red, you might not feel it instantly, But best believe it did something to you. That red color did something to that your anger because red is used to denote fiery, anger, things that can provoke emotions basically. If I see green, first thing that comes to my mind is fertility because of plants. So colors are not just vibes and inshallah. Colors have there must be reason for colors. So strategically using colors would help in giving a clean UI. For example, if you go to um, if I put something at the top here that is red, maybe I put one red like one red text here. When you come to this page, the first place your eye will go to is that text. It's impulse, right? You did not want to go there, but because it is different from what we are seeing, everything is black, 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 and white. Then you see red somewhere, your eye will go there first. That's why buttons are colored. So if I come to a page now and then I see maybe a different color here, maybe a blue button here, your eye will come here first to see what that blue button does before you now continue what you're doing. That is you using colors to your advantage. So the fifth one is using typography to create hierarchy and clarity. From this screen, you can say that this best practices is the title of this page. But we know that best practices is different from this, which is different from this. They're all black, but then this is bigger, this is smaller than this is smaller than this. So we know that okay, this is under this, which is under this. That is you using typography to create hierarchy and clarity. Same thing applies here. So you know, okay, all these are reference. Now, how do you know that? If I made this guy probably the same text size as these guys, you would think that they are just the same thing. There's no title. But because this one is bigger and bolder, okay, you see that okay, these guys are grouped under this one. That is you using typography to create hierarchy and clarity in your designs. Then the sixth one is feedback. Feedback. As you always making sure that the user is aware of what's happening at every given point in time. Now, if I'm using Zenith Bank, coming back to Zenith Bank here, if I'm using Zenith Bank and then I click on probably perform action, maybe send money, and it just stays on the screen. It just stays there, it does nothing. And after like 1 minute, not gonna tell me successful. The tendency of me clicking that button again is high because there's nothing that changed. You're not telling me processing. You did not say please wait. Yeah, you just left me on the screen there, just chill for me. So what this means is that keep your users in the know. For example, if there's an error in their password, yeah, let them know that you repeated the wrong password. Than them just clicking on the button, the thing roll, and I stop. No feedback, nothing. Our first thing is my network because I'm in this part of the world where first things first, network problem before the platform problem. But when the app will not be used by just these people, it can be accessed everywhere. And then we know that our network is good. So what then is the problem? But keeping your users in the know, letting them know that okay, there's an error here, you need to enter the right password, or maybe no result found. Just let them know that okay, you've done this, they are waiting for feedback, kindly wait for us, and stuff like that. So these are where you can get to know more about this stuff. I'll drop this slide and also these resources for any of you that want to also deep dive into the foundation and basics of design. Really, example of best practices, right? As you can see this moving. This is the part of me telling you to keep your users in the know because as I'm recording, I am seeing that okay, this thing is moving. Okay, I am talking, right? If I saw nothing here and it just says you are recording, it's yes, you gave me feedback, but doesn't feel right because this clearly is better than what was before. This also, there's a problem here, incorrect password. Let them know, okay, incorrect password, change your password, give them feedback. But for the purpose of this screen, why I brought in this screen was to tell you to use conventional elements using icons that are what they say they are, right? This is image, this is mic, this is text, this is document, and this is link. This is used to denote links. So if you see this anywhere, nobody will tell you that this text means draw rectangle. Nobody will tell you that because you know that this means text. So that's using conventional elements. This screen was mainly to tell you to use to give your users feedback as they go. So basically, as it's a problem and a password error or a feedback that I need to tell the users, let them know incorrect password, and you have one of 3 passwords if you need be, and they should repeat the password again. This third one is hierarchy. So beneficiaries is clearly the page title, but inside beneficiary group we have all. Inside all we have this. So this is hierarchy, and we not use colors to denote hierarchy. We use text, big, small, and then all this. And this is for page layout and button positioning. First name, surname, mobile number. This is Facebook. So this is what they have at the moment. Now, when I was telling you about the fact that the screen might be too big, and then you don't know how to position something as small as this in a big canvas. But they have done a good job here. I feel it can still be improved in a way, but who am I to say so? But looking at it, you have mobile phone number here. I mean, mobile number, new password, the date of birth, gender, and then the button is positioned at the bottom. Now, if I hide all these screens, I hide all this place, and you look at this place, the first place your eye will go to is the button, because clearly the button has a different color than every other thing you see. So your eye will first go down to the button. Okay, the button says sign up, before you now come up here to fill your information. So that is you using color to your advantage. So how do you learn more? How do you learn more? Of course, this is just the introduction, right? Our next class will now be focused on the introduction to the tool, that is to Figma, as I said. So how do I continue? Now I know the basics of this stuff. I know what they do. I know the foundation. I know how to. I mean, what I need to know for a start. Yeah. So where do I get more information? So YouTube is a very huge resource. People put a lot of stuff on YouTube. So it's just about you wanting it, you wanting to know more about it. If it's watching, you can go on YouTube and you watch a lot of videos of people that can explain to you better, break it down into smaller bits for you to understand. If you are the reading type, you can use Medium. Medium is a resource, a platform where people come and post articles of topics. So you can use Medium to read more extensively about design if you are a reading person. Instagram also, of course, all social media, there must be a way for you to impart knowledge because you are creating value. So Instagram, you can follow top design related platforms on Instagram. Because one thing about this thing is, yeah, whatever you feed your mind with, it tends to stick. You might not get it at that point. You might not understand it right there on the spot. But as you go on, the mind never forgets. The mind is very large. No matter how you want to put it, they'll not forget. So as you continue what you're doing, you flash back to be like, I've seen this somewhere. Okay, this was what they meant. But if you do not feed yourself with this information earlier on, there'll be nothing for you to flash back to. So what I'm trying to say is, as you go on, you can go on Instagram and just search for, just feed your eyes with designs. There's Twitter also. Feed your eyes with designs, so that when you now know more about this stuff, then you can now go and then boldly critique a design based on what you know. Yeah, a fourth one also is take a course. There are online platforms that can handle courses. I mean, what you guys are doing right now, actually taking a course from the Web3 ladies. There's Udemy, there's Coursera, Khan Academy. Just take a course. There's Google also. Take a course and learn more about um, about designs. So in conclusion, right? Because this is just the learning, I mean the introduction. So it might not span up to the 2 hours allocated for this class, right? Because I've basically told all of us what it is from beginning to ending in our past like this. So in conclusion, understand what design is, which we already know. User interface and user experience. User interface deals with the display of interface elements on a digital screen aimed at solving problems and increasing usability of users. Experience is more about how a user feels when they want to when they are done using your product. That's just definition of design generally. The basics of design, we've captured it already. Um, all the laws we spoke about, colors, typography, um, spacings, alignment, those are basics of designs, all of that. We've not gone too deep into them, but then you have an idea of your umbrella. And then going out there, you might feel that because you just started design and then you see people that are doing amazing works, right? People are doing the most. And then you might feel that you're not there yet. That's good. I like it when we are true to ourselves. If you're not there yet, tell yourself you're not there yet. But the moment you start saying I don't reach, I don't arrive, there's a problem. If you're not there yet, tell yourself I'm not there yet. But then don't let that stop you. 99% of people that are still at the back thinking, how do I approach this? You are better than them because you are now in there, you now know what it is, and then you take it the next step. And lastly, as you learn, just keep on sharing your learning with people. You don't know who you're motivating along the way. As you learn, whatever you learn right now, it might be hit slow, right? And then you have a friend that is starting design or wants to know more about design. You can just let them, okay, this is what Higgs law, this is how to apply Higgs law, this is what it means in layman terms. And you've already shared something with the person, you're giving the person value, and it might push the person a step further into making a decision to do what you want to do. So I think that's pretty much it about for this class. That's it for this class. So if you have any questions to what we have done at the moment, I would like to entertain those now. Do you have any? Yeah, I'll drop the slide after this class. I would drop the slide. Yeah. So no questions today. Everybody understood exactly what I went through from beginning to the ending. Okay. Okay. Nancy is asking which tool do we need to use? Do we need to get for this class? Okay. So the next one will be Figma. I think while we still have time. So the tool we need is Figma. You can go on the you can go on Google and Oh no, what have I done? Please. Just give me Figma.com. Mhm. Anyway, you can go on Figma, right? Just download Figma. Go on Google Figma.com and install the Figma on your laptop, or you can use it on the web. Just create an account with them, and you can post there. You might want to play around with it, but that's fine. But you can pause on that step. Once you download the Figma or you install it on your device, create an account. That's fine. I'll take it from there. And when I give you a brief intro on what this does and what that does, then you can go and get more insight. Then somebody didn't understand typography and hierarchy part. So I didn't really deep dive into what typography is and what hierarchy is, but a summary of what I said basically of what typography is that. So typography differs from niche to niche. The typography you use for a fintech platform would be different from what you use for an edtech. By edtech, I mean education technology, right? Because for fintech, we are trying to pass across the fact that you can trust us with your money, right? We are reliable and we will give you what you want. We are always available for you. So even though the typography might be, you might think it's a very trivial aspect of design, but it's very key, right? Because from your typography, we can know from a typography, we can know if you're a playful site or if you take design. I mean, if you take your work um well, basically. So I will dive into typography at some point, but just know that typography differs. So that which we use for some platforms, we might not want to use that for other platforms. The hierarchy, right? Hierarchy is I'll use the term differentiation, right? Now in this case, this is a text, but this is a text. But looking at it, something caught your eye before my name, right? This caught your eye, introduction to user interface and experience design. Now, why it caught your eye is because it is bigger than these guys, right? So that's hierarchy. Hierarchy is you just using size to differentiate between one element and the other. That's hierarchy in terms of text. Then hierarchy also applies to colors, right? If you look at the screen also, this caught your eye. Well, it differs because to some people, this one that is colored caught their eye before this bolder one, right? To others, the bolder one caught their eye before this one. So in this case, you've used hierarchy to your advantage because you want your users to see this that is for Web3 ladies. At the same time, they get to know that, okay, this is the title of the course, basically, before, okay, this is who is doing the course, right? So that's you using hierarchy to, sorry, that's you using hierarchy to your advantage. I don't know if that answers your question or if it throws more light on hierarchy and typography entirely. But I will deep dive into it as we go. If time permits, I will deep dive into these these types of, I mean, these elements of design. Yes, I'll drop the link for this. Sorry, I'll export it and I'll drop the link. It's on Figma. Because this house is my second intro to Figma on its own. This house is it. So I might export it as a PDF and drop it if that works. or might take it to a new slide and then send you the Figma link. But I don't think I'll do that because navigating Figma, I want to believe that you guys don't know how to do that yet. Some of you might know how to do it, but I want to believe that you don't know how to do it yet. So I'll just export as PDF and I'll send it across. Element states. Element states. So element states are, I'll give you this sample again, right? So right now, nothing says, if you look at the search bar, right? Nothing says that, it says type here to search, right? Now, if I hover on it, I don't. If you're on a window, if on a window, you can also test it, right? If you hover on it, you'll see that there is something around it. The border became thicker. That's element state. It's trying to tell you that okay, you are hovering on it. This way you are. If I hover on this, there's a white thing around here saying okay, this is where I am, right? If I click on it, now it turns to blue. So it's saying okay, you are inside it now. Start typing. So that's basically element state. Element state is the state of different things used to pass across information to your user in terms of feedback. So if I click on the button, say for instance, yeah, let me use this. Um, let me use Figma again. So now on Figma, yeah, you see that the color of this is different from the color of this. Now what I'm trying to tell me is that I have clicked here, I've clicked here, I've clicked here. Meaning I have visited here, I have visited here, I have visited here. Now if I hover on this, there's an underline there. That's telling me, okay, this is where you are now. This is where your mouse is. This is where your mouse is. That's element state, basically. So I don't know if that answers your question in any way, Deborah. I don't know if that answers the question. Can I use my phone for now? Laptop. All right, cool. Well, there are some people that are magicians, right? There are very few on earth, but there's some people that are magicians. It's very difficult to use your phone for now. Not gonna lie, it's very difficult. Um, a tablet, I would say yes, but a mobile device, I would not advise. I would not advise a mobile device. But of course, you can get to know like where I learned, right? I did not I did not dive into design into Figma straight up. I did it personally, right? I did. I first, of course, went on YouTube and got the basics. Then I did more of researching, did more of reading, did more of. I read a lot of books, a lot of books, saw a lot of videos. Before I now said, okay, let me test this stuff. So it took me about I think a month before I decided to okay hop onto. The urge was there to go on there and then test it. But I know myself that if I go in there and test it, I will start playing around and then I will deviate from the purpose of what I want to achieve from learning this again. So I did not start with I did not go into using my laptop initially. So you can also learn, but plan to get a laptop soon. But plan to get a laptop soon. I think that's what I can advise for that. And my voice is low. Okay. Wow. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So my Twitter handle is Manuel Senior. I think the last page. I'll just do that. Yeah. Yeah. So this me on Twitter. At Manuel Senior. Yeah. Then for books, I recommend the books. Probably after the second class, I will drop the I will drop the books I'll drop the books that I think you, because one thing also that I had a problem with was consuming information a lot, too much information basically. So I had too many books I had to read. I gave myself deadline I had to meet. So my learning was kind of early stages were scattered because I wanted to know this. And I spoke to someone and then it was like focus on one, complete it, then hop to another. So focusing on one is not mean focusing on one book per se, right? It might be if you want to learn colors from this book, cross-check with this book, go with this book, solidify colors, then moving to the next section if that works for you. So I would, but yes, I will drop the books as our next class. After I'm done with the intro to Figma itself, then I will now drop the book. I'll now drop books. Yes. Yeah, mountain. If you can get one by mountain, I think that will be fine. Mountain is in 2 weeks time now. I think September is just running. Mountain is in 2 weeks time, so it's okay. As we go, of course, anytime you need a recap, you can just hit me up and I will create time to run you through a session 30 minutes quickly if it works. So I don't know if there's any other question, remark, or it might not be in relating to this to at this point, right? Since I've answered all the questions that are out here. Now, it might not be relating to introduction to user interface or user experience design, right? It can be something else, design related also. Because you talking with me about politics, I'm not conversant with that line of thought. So design related, maybe not introduction, maybe something that you heard somewhere you want to confirm, and something you want to know elsewhere. I just want my own input on. Since we have time on it, I don't know if I should stop recording now since they will upload this, that they will not hear or chit chat. There you go. So I think if that's all for the questions, I would like to stop recording now. Then, if you have any other question for me, then we can run that, or we can close the session and then um, see you guys tomorrow, of course. What do we expect from this class? So what I would like to pass across is introducing you to to UI UX designing, grounding you up to a reasonable level in Figma, and giving you a problem-solving mindset generally. That is my own, what I want to achieve, right? Taking you from ground where you are at the moment, as you know nothing about design, yeah, to a level where you can go for internships, you can apply for paid internships because you can do this now, right? That's what I want. So yours might differ, and if there's something you also want to incorporate to my plan, you can always let me know, and then we can see how we can push it inside. But yeah, that's what you should expect from this class. Today's only just general introduction to design, UI UX and user experience design, and that's pretty much it. Human-centered designs, right? Human-centered designs. That is you merging two things together. Of course, anything you are creating right now is for human being, right? We are different. We are different. So human-centered designs is you doing the actual research, getting to know more about your users, then tailoring a solution towards them. That is human-centered design in the sense that it revolves around human beings because they have to take control of the platform. You have to put their emotions into considerations also, and then there's the business part of things. You get. So that's pretty much about creating human-centered designs. But yeah, I'll send the course on it just for this purpose, human centered designs. I'll send a resource on it so you can take an actual course on understanding what human centered design is. But that will definitely be after tomorrow's session. Yeah, after tomorrow's session. Then I do hear some designers talk about Binance or say they posted a case study on Binance. Yeah, so Binance is a platform where creatives come and showcase their products. So if you make a design, right? If you make a design and you want to show it out, so you can post it out on Behance, right? Yes, same as Dribble. Yes, you just go, and also it's based on usage because of course your clients your clients, when I mean clients now, I mean people that you want to work for, right? They want somewhere that you put your work out there because they believe that if your work is out there, people are easier to critique your work and then than when it's inside your laptop because only you know that it's inside your laptop. But if it's out there, people are can access it easier, critique it, and then you learn from them, and then you know that okay, you do this stuff, right? So posting online also helps in learning. Dribble also, but then people prefer Behance to Dribble, uh, me inclusive, because what I see on Dribble are mostly not human-centered designs. If I'll use that word, if I use that sentence, they are not usable in some cases. I mean, you see some buttons that are in polygons, and you start asking questions. Why did you choose polygons? And there's no data to back polygons down. I mean, why polygons? And they tell you it's vibes. I just like polygons. That's a problem, right? But on Behance, when you go and post your case studies, there must be a thought process. This is the research I did. This was the response I got. This is how these decisions impacted my design. This is the final solution, and this is what I solved. Yes, that's why I prefer Behance to Dribble. But in terms of getting um, visual guides, right? In terms of getting inspiration, I use Dribble a lot. But then they know how to use colors. People that post on Dribble more from top people, they know how to use colors. So I can just go there and pick a section. Maybe I like this color works with the niche I'm working on, and then business wise also work for the client. So let's go with this. Some features also just to boost my creative mind. I go on Dribble and Behance also. But you can post on both of them. We don't know where scatter your bread on the water for in due time. You know the rest. But then we don't know when they will come, where our client will come from. So yes, please, you're raising your hand. Sorry about that. Yes.
Okay. I've been hearing people say that okay, you should like let's say clients a bit those that are trying to employ people, they don't like Behance. Some are saying it's Notion also. I just wanted to like advise from what you know, like which is best for posting case studies and all that.
Okay. Um, I believe that it's it's less about where you put it, but about what you put. But we cannot remove the fact that clients to the clients, they prefer one place to another. But when starting out, yeah, the main focus should be more about improving your craft, knowing your stuff. I've seen people that got recommendations from Twitter, from WhatsApp status. I've seen people that drop recommendations from WhatsApp status. I've seen people that have gotten from Dribble, Behance, UX Folio. Notion just came out for UMDI designers recently. So the person telling you that Notion is preferable, I don't know where the person got that info from, but I can't dispute the fact also because I don't know, right? But for posting your case studies, just put it out there. The most important thing, do the right work, right? Put it out there. Day that will come, will come. I mean, if I put on LinkedIn, I put on Twitter, I put on Behance, put on Dribble, the job not go work. Don't worry, they will come. But basically, just I would advise more of, if you want to run case studies, I would advise more of Behance than Dribble, because Dribble recently incorporated the UX case study, I mean the case study section in their products. But Behance has always had it, so you might want to go with Behance in terms of posting your case studies, right? Posting your designs, it can be on Twitter, LinkedIn. The most important thing is people knowing your progress, knowing that you are into this stuff. Because the whole essence of you posting at work is to tell our potential client that, hey, I can do this. I mean, look at it. I can do it. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Stuff like that. So where you put is not the key, but as you advance, right, get to a level where if you're applying for some certain positions, you need to host your portfolio on a website. If you are applying for a certain position, you need to host it on a website, because the website now gives a potential client more information about you, not just your design. You know, who are you away from design? Can you fit our culture and stuff like that? Yes, I know you can do the good work, that's fine, but your personal person, who are you? That's why portfolio website is actually good. But for starters, right, for interns, please focus on just showing up, basically sharing your progress as you go. Just keep on sharing it, put it on Behance, Dribble, wherever. Then later on, you cannot decide to, okay, you will now um, concentrate on one. Then your question is whether applying for an intern position. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, right? So intern position, just send them your Behance. If it's internship, right? Nobody expects you to own a website right now, because to keep the website safe, you need to be paying them money every year. So send them a Behance. Send them your Twitter handle if you have the Twitter, Behance, Notion, anywhere. But just do the work also. You can also, yeah, you can use Notion, of course. Do the work also. Yeah. So I'll stop sharing. At the same time, I'll stop recording now. If that works for everybody.